All right, have and have not fans, episode review time for In His Eyes. Now, I have to say that I even tweeted this out, so just so you know, for future reference, what I like to do is watch the episode on Tuesday night. Then I'll wake up on Wednesday morning, watch the episode again, make sure I didn't miss out on anything, just to make sure these reviews are as thorough as possible. And I am taken aback by how much love last week's episode review got for Veronica's House. I believe it's over 13,000 views by the time of this recording, and the comments were generally positive. You know, people who had just found the channel and other channels that I look up to saying they like the video. So thank you all so much for that, and I hope this review gets the same kind of love. But just a heads up before we get started, this review might be longer than last week's. I think last week was about 25 minutes or so. I have 1.5 pages worth of notes. So just a fair warning, this trailer might be longer than I expected, because I'm saying that now, maybe it'll end up to be 20 minutes depending on how fast I talk. I'm going to try to slow it down because I have a lot to discuss. So first off, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because aside from this episode review, I'll be doing a trailer breakdown once the trailer is on the own YouTube channel. That way I can look at it a few more times and break that down. And then I also have at least, I'm looking over my list here, 10 have and have not related videos that I'll be posting throughout the week between today and next Tuesday, just because this episode was jam-packed with so much stuff. The score, I'm going to rank it between 1 to 10, you know, 1 being the lowest, not a good episode, 10 being the best in terms of being a great episode. So I'll be sure to let you know what my score is towards the end of the video. So strap yourselves in. It's going to be one heck of a ride, because this was one hell of an episode. All right, so let's dive into the episode itself. First off, let me just give kudos to Tyler Perry, because this episode did something that has been ignored a lot during this season. This episode picked up where we left off, and I couldn't be happier. The fact that not only we picked up where we left off with the whole Wyatt about to crush Jim's skull, and then the cat fight between Melissa and Veronica, we'll get to that later. But let's just talk about that first scene. A great opening between Wyatt and his parents. Now, I feel that it was pretty obvious that he wasn't going to, you know, smash Jim's head in. I feel like we all knew this to be true based off previous trailers and episode previews. It was a given. But I have to admit that even I was taken aback by Jim being an asshole to Wyatt, pretty much saying like, oh, go ahead, he was about to kill me, I saw it in your eyes. And then when he went, I was laughing my ass off. That was pretty funny. And has anybody noticed that? I'm pretty sure everybody has, because some of you all made it apparent to me. Have you all noticed like the F-bomb is being dropped around here more often than ever before? It's like every episode there are at least 2 to 4 bleeps. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I know that Vinny did it to Wyatt at the end of the episode. It's like, if you don't have my money, I'm going to F you up. And I'm just like, well, dang. But when it comes to the Wyatt scene, some of my favorite parts from that were Jim saying to Wyatt that you need to apologize to your mother for putting your hands on her like that. And I 100% agree with that. What I really loved about it is that Jim didn't even care about being hit upside the head himself. He just wanted Wyatt to apologize to Catherine because she didn't deserve that. I love that, and I'll definitely be talking about that more once we get to the scene at Catherine's house between her and Jim. And then we have the fact that Jim said, Wyatt, when it comes down to it, you either kill someone or you shut the F up. And I couldn't agree more with that statement as well, because if you don't kill somebody when it looks like you're about to, that's showing a sign of weakness, and that leaves an opening for them to either kill you on the spot or walk away and then exact revenge on you later. Not to say I've done that myself. No, that's not the case. I just watch a lot of other movies, animes, comic book shows and movies, so I know for a fact that if you show that sign of weakness, whether it be weakness, mercy, or whatever, the opponent will take advantage of you. In this case, I just love how Jim was literally being Jim Cryer in that moment. Part of me was just like, man, you better get him out of there before he gets that statue again. But the fact that he was up there mocking Wyatt, that is like a classic Jim Cryer at his finest. I mean, that's literally who Jim Cryer is, no matter what's happening. Same thing with Veronica. She pretty much put up a front when Quincy tried to rape her twice. Right when he was on the cusp of doing so, she would say the right thing to make him freeze in place. I think the second time it happened, she threatened to kill his entire family. And then with Candace, she pretty much does the same thing to an extent. I mean, unless she's literally on the verge of dying. So, yeah. But I really did love the opening scene. Great pickup from where we left off. He's like, you better listen to her. You better get out of here. And I just was so upset because Catherine said, we love you and I love you. And it's like, you don't give a damn about me. And it goes back to what I said before. If only Wyatt knew what Catherine was saying to him while she was at his bedside when he was in the hospital after almost overdosing on all those drugs at the Sarandon Hotel. I just wish that Wyatt knew what she said. And, for a comic book reference, thinking about a kid that almost killed his dad. Now, if you are familiar with DC Comics, the Injustice video games, the games are, great, but I'm a huge fan of the comic books. I do know in Injustice Year 5, you have Batman on the verge of breaking Superman's neck to kill him. He was trying to make a point to Damian Wayne, his son. And the reason I'm bringing this up, not to just be a nerd, but because this scene really reminded me of that, a son willing to kill his father to get him out of the way. And I do know that Batman was saying that, hey, all it takes is just one snap, in 5 years of fighting. Now, will you do whatever it took to stop me from doing so? And he's like, yep, without hesitation. And he throws a birdarang that Batman catches, and pretty much those two go at it again. And then Batman was like, I was bluffing, but you weren't. He's like, nope, I really would have killed you to save him. And that really reminded me of the scene because Wyatt was on the verge of doing so. I think that if he was truly strung out on drugs, really strung out, like if this occurred at the Iron Bar where he got high to begin with, I do believe that there wouldn't have been any reasoning with Wyatt. He still would have been on such a level of high that he probably would have smashed Jim's head in with the statue. That's just my 2 cents on that. But overall, a very strong opening because you know how sometimes cliffhanger will be just full of adrenaline. Did I say that right? Adrenaline, energy, suspense, and tension. That sometimes when the next scene plays out at the beginning of the following episode, it's not as good. I felt like this was definitely a great moment. So the opening, the episode, 2 thumbs up. Tyler Perry just nailed it. Then we're going over to Veronica's house where the cat fight really picked up. I mean, if you ask me, I feel like they literally picked up where they left off. I mean, I feel like Maggie getting slapped when Veronica slapped the taste out of Maggie's mouth like 50 times in a row. I still feel like that was one of the better fight scenes. That's just my opinion there. But there's really not too much to say about this because I feel like I've already dove into this in various other videos over the past week. Like we knew that Veronica was going to be pissed off. To me, it really wasn't so much about Melissa, but the fact that now Benny is on Veronica's hit list. I mean, when she said in the trailer, like, I'm on the warpath and I have you in my sights, I didn't know who she was saying that to, but the fact she said that to Benny was very interesting indeed. But my thing with Melissa is, why do you not expect her to kick you out? Like, you can't treat me this way, you're going to pay for this baby and yada, yada, yada. And it's funny because her and Benny are supposed to be like in their 20s in this show, but they're literally acting like young, horny teenagers. It's just like, you can't kick me out, Mom. And it's just like, yeah, I can. And she literally grabbed her and threw her out the front door. That was literally like a sack of potatoes. She said that just like the trash, I can throw you out whenever I want. And then I want to call your mother. So I'm wondering what that will lead to. I'm guessing she'll probably call her mom. Just for the sake of telling, you know what, I kicked your daughter out. She didn't oblige to the, she didn't go along with the plan we set up, the arrangement. So she's out of my house. She's done for. So that leads to another theory that I have, and I'll talk about that later as well. But my thing with Benny and kind of jumping into the end of the episode, when Wyatt was talking to Vinny about, what happened to the drugs and he wasn't telling the full story. and Vinny kind of like hit him on the chest to get him to talk. That really mirrored what Veronica did to Benny at the beginning of the episode when she's like, "What the hell are you doing in my house?" And she's like, "Y'all need to calm down." It's like, "Answer me, boy." And then she hit him. That really reminded me of the same scene. The only difference is Wyatt actually fessed up and told what happened to the drugs, where Benny, I'm not sure if it really would have helped, but I would love to have seen what Veronica's reaction would have been if Benny said that, "Melissa, I got this text from your phone to come over here." And then Melissa told me that she sent it herself. So I don't know if that would really help Benny's case any, but that would at least answer the question of, hey, you know what? That's the reason I'm here. I actually tried to leave, but Melissa wouldn't let me. And then we started having sex on the couch. But Benny, okay, it's one thing to have him making all these crappy decisions, but can you at least give him some depth? That way he can actually, he's literally sounding like he's an awful liar. It's like, literally, it's like, man, she was just sitting out here, man. At least explain yourself. Like I said before, I'm not sure if it really would have helped anything, but to at least elaborate on why you were there, to explain yourself, because it wasn't like Veronica was cutting him off at every sentence. She was literally trying to get to the bottom of this. That way, whatever happens to Benny afterwards, at least you could say that, hey, at least I explained the entire story to Veronica. What she does now, we'll just have to wait and see. But it's pretty safe to say that anytime that Veronica mentions a person's name in the same sentence as David's name, you're in trouble. Because literally, she is going to rain down hell on him, and we know that's going to happen in the next episode. I'll get into that in another video, but it goes without saying that Benica is done for. The whole Benny and Veronica thing. She said, "Don't call me, don't call me no more, don't text me no more." I feel like that's a song. And it looks like she's actually going to call him in the next episode just to let him know that he's screwed. But I was still thinking that maybe, just maybe, that Benny will actually call her up when he needs help with the Home Alone situation, because in an episode synopsis, I think for the 29th, which is the end of this month, Benny is going to find that it'll be harder to, he's going to try to give the money back to the Malones, but then discovers it's not going to be as easy as he thinks. So I'm thinking that maybe Benny starts to get a good head on his shoulders instead of thinking with the head in his pants, and decides to get the money back, but it's not going to be as easy as he wants it. Then discovers he needs to get that interest money, and then calls Veronica, and she's not going to want to have anything to do with him. But it looks like Veronica isn't wasting any time in acting revenge, which I actually like, because usually you would think this is something that will be drawn out for at least 2.5 seasons, but so far it looks like Tyler Perry's picking up a good pace with this. But the Veronica scene, the Wyatt scene, definitely good stuff. I loved it. I feel like Benny definitely should have explained himself. Again, not sure if it would have really done anything to help his case, but at least it all would have been, put out there on the line. But I'm really thinking if Veronica really will try to put the moves on Derek, due to the fact that David is with Erica. She kicked Benny out of the house, so she has no man left. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. All right, then we get to the next scene, which is kind of the part 2 of the Hannah and Derek date. They go to a little dance club, and I have to say that Stephanie Mills, my gosh, the fact that I knew she was going to be on the show for quite some time. This was several months ago when it was announced she would have a role on the Haves and the Have-Nots. People were blowing me up saying that that's Veronica's mom. She's going to be Veronica's mom. And I really wasn't buying the whole her being in the role of Veronica Harrington's mother. I just didn't see it. But the fact that she appeared, made a cameo, sang a song, it really reminded me of House of Pain. I believe it was like a fundraiser night they were doing at Curtis and Ella's house, and Gladys Knight came to the talent show to perform a song to raise funds. It really reminded me of that, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I feel good all over. I'm 26 years old, and that has to be in my top 25 songs of all time that I just love listening to. And I mean, every time I hear Stephanie Mills, I automatically think about her song. Was it called Home? I know that was playing in the Jacksons and American Dream. I know Pam from Martin covered it during the Biggie Small episode. I just love Stephanie Mills. She's amazing. And what I really want to talk about this scene, believe it or not, more so about the Stephanie Mills than the Hannah and Derek, because that was interesting between the two. But the fact that I just love this scene so much, I believe this occurred from like the 6 to 10 or 11 minute mark with Stephanie Mills. And it really was a nice change of pace. I don't believe we've ever had a scene like this in the haves and the have-nots where we literally had a song that was from an artist, because usually the music and whatnot, I believe, is like kind of stock music that Tyler Perry produced and put on the show. That way he doesn't have to pay for like royalties of, let's say, if he borrowed a Michael Jackson or a Diana Ross song, for example, he wouldn't have to pay royalties to, them for the songs. He actually would create music and then put it on the show that he made to save money. But the fact that we had a legitimate artist on the show performing one of their songs, fantastic. I loved it. It really gave it like a Tyler Perry play feel, where they have those songs in the middle of the story. But I just love this concert setting. It really was very good. I liked it. I hope we have more of this in the future, and I'll probably do a video talking about several artists that personally I would like to have on the haves and the have-nots, doing songs to that actually fit the storyline, and it was just fantastic. But overall, just seeing Stephanie Mills was definitely a treat. I mean, when the music started playing, because I remember being on Twitter last night and everybody's talking Stephanie Mills, and I didn't tweet this out, but I was thinking, well, I love I Feel Good All Over, but I don't know if that's the song she'll do. But when the music started, I just started to lose. I'm just like, yep, I'm going to enjoy this scene. So definitely Stephanie Mills, a huge change of pace, and I enjoyed it. I definitely hope that Tyler Perry gets other old school artists. Not to say there aren't any current artists with songs that would fit the show, but I definitely enjoy the old school. I mean, again, I'm only 26, but I enjoy that kind of music. But aside from Hannah's look, because over the past week it's all been about the wig and everything, I was more I guess you could say enamored by her smiling the entire episode. Hannah was happy. This was a really, really good episode for Hannah. I cannot stop talking about how much I enjoyed it, due to the fact that we had Hannah getting out for once. And then the fact that, she talked to Derek about, I forgot what this felt like. I've been going through so much over, from losing her grandson to Candace just being a pain. And then all the drama of being in the Cryer family, working for them and just seeing how all that went. Benny being in jail, her being in jail, Benny being in the coma, her before the show started, battling and winning against breast cancer, helping Catherine through her thing, and then seeing Amanda's death. So literally, she has been through and seen so much. So to have an episode with her literally being happy was truly a treat for the eyes. And then her talking about, how I haven't done this in a while and I've forgotten, and then Derek being a reassurance of like, look, you haven't forgotten about it. It's not that you couldn't, it's just that you chose not to. I'm not going to lie. Watching that scene again this morning, it kind of made me want to ask a girl out today. Like, this girl I have a crush on. I'm actually like, man, I should really take that advice, because Hannah's, up in the age, but I'm only 26 and I don't really get out much myself. So not that it was written for me, but Tyler Perry, my God, that was definitely inspirational. Like, I really feel like I should. But, the whole rejection thing, I don't know if I could take that. But that's neither here nor there. But I will admit, the scene, us like, so should I call you in the morning or nudge you in the morning? That was pretty wild, Derek. Smooth, very smooth. I just love the fact that they were flirting back and forth with each other. And then the whole, like, I got to stop out of church in the morning. Well, I want to come with you. Well, it's choir practice. Well, I want to go. And I'm just like, no. Singers really don't like to see people, have people see them warm up. But go to service with me on Sunday. Please, Tyler Perry, please have a scene where we have characters going to church. If I am not mistaken, we have not had a scene on the haves and the have-nots where the characters are in a legit church service. Were they in church before? Yes, but that was at the Lil Lizzy funeral. I'm talking about, having Hannah in her element, because I do know that she was in the was it the chapel in the hospital in season 2 when Benny was in a coma after a hit and run, and she was talking with I believe there was a nun in there. But I'm talking about having Hannah going to a legitimate church service. I know back in season 1, she talked about going to Bible study and whatnot, but to actually see Hannah in her element, I would love it. I feel like this is what the show has been needing for so long. Changing up the scenery. It doesn't have to be sex, drugs, extortion, drama, every single scene. Sprinkle some happiness in there. That's what we definitely need. So I would hopefully, like to think that Tyler Perry will deliver on a church scene. Tyler Perry, of all people, all the plays and movies, there has to be at least one church scene. That's a rule of Tyler Perry. There has to be at least one electric slide scene and one church scene in like every play and movie. That has yet to happen on the show. I don't believe we've seen the electric slide on Haves and Have-Nots. Maybe that'll happen during the grand finale when all the characters come together. That'd be pretty funny to be, honest about it. But Derek. I'm starting to like this guy, but the more I start to like him and Hannah together, the more I'm thinking he really is the guy with the lion tattoo. Just because this show has taught me one thing, and people are too good to be true on the show. Even the characters who seemingly have the best intentions do have some skeletons in the closet. They do some shady activity, like Aaliyah, the social worker, when Hannah and Candace were going at it for custody of Quincy Jr. We found out that she took money for Oscar, and then that didn't turn out too well for her, where Candace and beat her up. I think Erica held her down. And man, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'll talk about him more once we get to the scene where Benny shows up at the house right when they were kissing. But I really like Derek and Hannah. My gosh, I really don't know if he's as good a guy as he seems to be. Because at first it did seem a bit pushy, but I did like the banter between the two. It's like, he wasn't as exertive as, let's say, a Jim Cryer would be on a woman. But, I just love the whole oh, we're not having sex until we're married. I'm like, am I following that rule? Yes. But at that age, Hannah, I'm actually kind of surprised because remember, her and Michael were making out, but then Benny walked in. I think Hannah was getting dressed to, go to her job at the Cryer estate. And remember, this was at the beginning of season 3. They were having the homecoming party at Hannah's house for Benny getting out of the hospital. Michael had a bit too much to drink. Hannah let him sleep in her bed while I think she slept out on the couch. She came in the next morning to get ready for work, and then her and Michael started kissing on the bed, and they were going at it. So I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they were maybe on the verge of having sex until Benny walked in. So for her to actually have this rule in place now, I'm not against it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of like, okay, well, to be fair, she is correct. They really don't know each other that well. And in Michael's defense, her and Michael have talked on several occasions because they are both trying to get the criminal, aka Wyatt Cryer, for the hit and run case put behind bars. So those two were growing closer up until that point. Not to mention Byron was out of the picture as well, because during season 2, Hannah was really into Byron, not Michael. But then after finding out he was a low down dirty dog working for Jim Cryer to spy on her, she told him to leave the party. And that's when her and Michael started to get a bit cozy. So yeah, I'm not totally against Hannah having that rule in place, not having sex on the first date, but not having it before marriage with Derek. I don't know if that's the case. I really do think those two might actually get to the point where they're about to have sex, and then maybe, just maybe, she'll see the lion tattoo, but we'll have to wait and see. So overall, the Hannah and Derek scene at the club, really enjoyed it. Stephanie Mills was definitely a treat, and just seeing Hannah being so happy was great. But the reason I brought up the lion tattoo is because Hannah's like, I don't know you. And then I thought to myself, or do you? Have you met him before? So we'll just have to go back and see about that. All right, now let's get to one of the scenes I actually didn't like about the episode, and that is aka Pimp Candace Young doing her thing, gloating over Oscar's unconscious body. Gia walks in, is forced to hand over the money she's earned thus far, even though Candace told her to give money to Rocky. She wanted it straight up. Belittles Gia for not making enough money. What am I supposed to do with this? And I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, that's cold, because I don't even think Candace gave her a cut of the money. And at least we have a name drop of a new character who I don't believe we've seen yet. Allegedly a pimp named Rico. Gia was saying there was this guy bothering him, and after dropping Candace's name, he seemed to have backed off. So is this Rico a character we'll meet in the season and the next few episodes? Perhaps, but to be honest, the reason it seems like I'm blitzing through the scene while I'm taking so much time on the others is I am just so done with the Pimp Candace thing. I'm literally that. To be the fact that the Pimp Candace scenes are getting as annoying as the Justin Jeffrey scenes says a lot. So I literally have no interest in it whatsoever. You know, it looks like Candace wants to bring Jim Cryer back to the hotel, most likely to gloat in his face again. It's just so stupid. Remember when she extorted $7.4 million? Warlock was like, so you're going to leave Savannah? Oh, no, I'm going to stick around. I'm just going to live it up in his face. I'm just like, that's the dumbest thing you could have done at that point. And that's how you lost the money from through Oscar. So, yeah, I'm just not feeling the whole pimp thing with Candace. I have nothing else to say on that. It was just annoying. And let's see here. Then we get to another good scene. When Catherine is patching up Jim Cryer. Now, you can say what you want to. I don't care. I feel like Catherine still loves Jim because Tyler Perry has been doing a great job writing scenes between these two in the past couple episodes, because this is what I wanted to see. Kind of sucks because we know that Jim is a hound dog that will literally leave as soon as he gets a phone call, like a booty call in the middle of the night. And we know that Broderick is allegedly going to come back and try to woo Catherine out of her money. But I really did enjoy the scene between the two. The fact that they were just talking about the past. And this is what I love about, you know, how they raised their kids, how they were crappy parents. Catherine pointing the finger at Jim. To be honest, you know, they mentioned the whole how he was molested as a kid by the priest. And then Catherine's like, you know, that's probably why he's still, you know, freaking out on drugs. But then Catherine is like, Jim was like, no, it's not because of that. It's because we were crappy parents. Both of them were right, but correct me if I'm wrong, but dang it, hang on. Thanks to Jeffrey, that's how Catherine knew that Wyatt got raped while he was in jail. So yes, Catherine does know that Wyatt was raped in jail thanks to Veronica. That's why she was chasing her around the house with the knife. So she does know, because in my notes I said she didn't, but then I literally just remembered that it was toxic. But to be honest, I feel like Jim is to blame for both of those scenarios, because number one, Wyatt said that I remember calling you, telling you I wanted to go away from the camp because these people were touching me. He didn't go into detail, but he's like, Dad, come pick me up. And Jim said, no, I had to work. But then after looking through Jim's phone, remember this was the beginning of season 3, Wyatt was like, you were with Celine. And if you would have picked me up when I told you to, I wouldn't have gotten molested as a kid. And I'm just like, oh my God. Because maybe Wyatt wasn't molested before calling Jim. Maybe, you know, they were touching him, but not the full-on molestation that happened after Jim said he couldn't pick him up because he had to work. Then you move on to a couple of seasons ago, when Jim put him in jail to teach him a lesson. And to be fair to Jim, he did not know that Veronica would slide in and intercept him by putting toxic in the cell. Jim had him in a controlled environment, but thanks to Terrell, the officer who was paid by Veronica, he put toxic in the cell, and that's how Wyatt got raped in that occasion. Remember that Catherine told Jim, turn this car around. I don't like this. Let's go get him. He's like, no, we'll wait another day or so. If he would have turned the car around and got Wyatt when Catherine said so, there would have been a good chance that Wyatt would not have been raped again. So Jim is definitely more to blame than Catherine when it comes down to Wyatt. But the fact that, you know, Jim is still an asshole, the fact that he was like, you know what, I'm going to wash up, then I'm going to go to bed. Classic Jim Cryer. And then I love how it's like, you son of a bitch. And I'm just like, Catherine still loves him. I mean, I know fans might not be crazy about Jim Cryer, but I've been liking Jim these past couple episodes. I literally have. But then we have the whole Gia thing, and I am not a fan of that. I literally am not. The fact that Gia is going to set him up for Candace. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a big Gia fan, but I love how they're at least consistent with Jim's character, and it really shows a contrast between Jim and David, because after going through what he just went through at Wyatt, you would think that Jim would just clean himself up and relax for the night. And I love how even Catherine called him out. I was like, wait, you can sleep after all of this? And then it reminded me of their scene after Amanda's death when Jim was in the living room crying, and Catherine literally sat down and talked about his crocodile tears, where you'll cry tonight, but then the next morning you'll put on your I'm an ass suit, slick back your hair, look in the mirror, and just walk around like nothing happened. So it really isn't a shocker that Jim is able to pick up the pieces after everything that just occurred and go out on another sexcapade. So Jim cried for the win there. And I did love the nod to the end of last season, where he's like, yeah, if you have this furniture moved out, get some movers who are quiet as the last time so they don't wake me up. Really did love that scene. It was really great. So kudos to Jim and Catherine. Tyler Perry, keep on writing great scenes between the two, because I really, really enjoy it. All right, then we pick up again at Hannah's house. Her and Derek return home after having a wonderful night out. Derek goes in for a kiss. And to be honest, I'm glad he didn't stay for the night. Not because of Benny, but because no need of rushing things. But I feel like maybe I'm really thinking the whole lion tattoo with him as a thing due to the fact that they're going to draw out the Derek and Hannah thing at least a little bit longer in terms of them not having sex, because I feel that if Hannah is the first one to learn that Derek is the guy with the lion tattoo, it would have to happen in a shirtless scene, most likely when they're having sex, because she said that when she was raped, when he was inside of me, all I did was look up and I saw that lion looking back at me. So I'm thinking that might be the case here. But then the moment is ruined by Benny Young. I said this in my last episode review. You can't have Benny written to be some kind of man whore one in like 90% of the scenes he's in. But then in the next scene, he's like this overprotective son telling his mom what to do. That does not work for me. This was strike 2 for this episode, aside from Pimp Candace, of scenes that I just did not like seeing, because oh, you're not going to see her again. It's like, well, I'm coming with you. Oh, we're going to church. Well, no, you're good. You're good then. And that goes back to season 1, where Hannah was trying to get Benny to go to church with her as well, to Bible study. It's like, you used to love going as a kid. So yeah, Benny does need to go to church. He really does. So my question is here. So Benny is against his mom seeing a guy, not to mention not even having this guy in their house, but is okay with letting Melissa come in. But he did say that, you know, she couldn't stay there, but he can bring a female home, but she can't bring a man home. Yeah. Benny needs to be written a little bit better in terms of being consistent with his character. That's what I really want to see from Benny. But I did a video, again, thank you all so much for giving that video love, about will Hannah agree to help out Melissa? And this, again, another great Hannah scene, y'all. The fact that she was more than willing to take her in, help her out. It's like, we have plenty of room here. And then Benny being against the whole thing. I'm like, shut up, Benny. Ain't nobody ask you. You're the one who brought it here. So I really, really did enjoy that scene. I mean, it really put a smile on my face, because in a small kind of way, I feel like, you know, Hannah did that despite Benny. It's like, oh, Veronica Harrington's house. And it goes back to these characters who don't explain anything. I'm glad I talked about Veronica pushing Benny to talk, Benny telling Wyatt to talk, and now Hannah's like, no, tell me what happened. And I like that. And it's like, whoa, you're Jeffrey's fiance. And then of course, you know, Hannah knows that he's gay. So I really did enjoy this scene. And then, you know, when she goes to the fridge to get a beer, I know some people were like, but Hannah's supposed to be a Christian. And I'm just like, guys, come on. She's been a hypocrite in a lot of different episodes, but her drinking a beer, there is nothing that should be said against that. Number one, she told Derek that she drinks beer sometimes. And number two, we've seen her drinking beer in previous seasons. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of Christians out there who drink themselves. Personally, I don't drink. It's a choice. I just don't. Have I drank before? Yes. Like, you know, wine here and there. I did try beer once, but I didn't like it. I think during my mom's birthday at Applebee's, I had a Dollar Mama, or whatever you call it. It's like that drink they have for $1 just to try it out. But I don't see why people are condemning her just for having a beer. I don't really get. I mean, they probably say, well, oh, she says she doesn't want to have sex before marriage, but she can drink a beer. Guys, come on, let it go. It really wasn't that big of a deal. And what really was good about that scene, She told Benny to wash his nasty ass. Now, I did a video on this a while ago about these characters not showering after having sex with multiple people, and hands down, Hannah was the MVP of that scene there. And then Benny's like, I want to put her in a hotel, and how are you going to get the money? I'll get it. And I'm just like, wait, he's going to get it? I don't know how, but correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he still have that $45,000? I don't believe he's gone to buy the tow truck yet. So as far as I know, he still has the money untouched. We'll just have to wait and see. And I do know the way he's getting around from place to place is because he borrowed Mitch's car, if I'm not mistaken. So we have that. And I felt bad for Melissa. She was crying, and then Benny finally told her, hey, you can come upstairs. But that just goes back to what I was saying before. It's like, well, after doing everything, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Veronica was right in anything she did to Melissa. But my thing is, it's like, if you look at how far you were willing to go, it's like, how did you not expect her to throw you out at some point in time? And you literally have nowhere to go. And it really is an interesting contrast because, over the past week, we have this, new Melissa, and now we have her sad and, with no place to go. And then it's a very, very different contrast to Coco Jones on Dear White People. Season 2 dropped on Friday, and I watched several episodes of that. So just seeing Antoinette Robertson being in different personas like that in a short amount of time, it was great. I loved it. It really was good. But I really am glad that Hannah is willing to help out when Benny doesn't want to. So I really do love that. And there is another interesting theory video that I'll be talking about with the possibility of what if Melissa makes Hannah a grandmother again. That video's on the way. We're rounding up the episode. I believe I have about about 3 more things to talk about. Let's go back to the Artesian Hotel. Yeah, we'll wrap up the ending of the episode and get back to 2 big points. I feel like, number one, I'm not going to lie, I think Oscar is dead because in the preview we see that Candace is calling down to the bartender to handle this situation. So I do believe Oscar most likely is dead. I don't know if she gave him too much stuff. I don't know if the person that gave her that stuff was overdosing. I don't know. Some people said that Rocky was the one that gave Candace the stuff to put in his drink. I don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see. But definitely had side effects that he was not, that Candace was not aware of. As far as I know, she said that he will be knocked out until noon the next day. But the fact that he's foaming at the mouth now does not look too good. And, actually, I'm sorry. Before jumping to Rocky's scene, we need to go to the jail with Jeffrey in the cell with, I believe Justin said this fake name, Leslie Jackmore, I believe it's the name of the guy that was sitting next to Jeffrey, telling him about what you in for. And then this cop, man, once I get this lawyer, because that cop was touching me in the cop car, obviously a ploy by Justin to make Jeffrey jealous. And then this guy, Leslie, goes to the hotel, tells Rocky what happened. He's flying off the handle because, well, this is a hustle, you can't be late, and then tells him to get to work. So something tells me that this Leslie guy probably isn't going to take his job as seriously as Rocky wants him to. And as an extension of that, Candace is going to be pissed off if in the next episode this guy isn't able to do what she wants him to do, which could lead to why Candace is going to beat up Rocky with the crowbar. So we'll just have to wait and see with that, because something either goes down with Oscar, or maybe they just barely by the skin of their teeth handled the situation. And then Candace, not wanting to be too close to the fire, is going to be mad at Rocky because he let this guy take charge when she needed help the most. Not to mention, it goes back to if Rocky was the one to give her the stuff to put in Oscar's drink, she's going to be even more pissed about that. So I believe he even said that she said in the preview, like, there's, in this game, we're hustlers, there's no room for honor, which I believe is the title of an episode. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's kind of interesting how you have Rocky treating this Leslie guy in a similar fashion to Candace treating Gia. So interesting dynamics here. So pay attention to that. And going back to the Jeffrey scene, this is strike 3, the other scene in the episode that really did annoy me. To be honest, I didn't mind Justin in this scene so much as Jeffrey, just because I am getting sick of Jeffrey being victimized every episode. Last week it was by his mother. This week it's by Justin. Next week we know Veronica's going to stop by again. I can't wait for him to get out of there. I really don't. And we do know that in a future scene, those two are going to be in an apartment together, him and Justin. But I'll just do another video talking about, the whole Justin Jeffrey thing. If Jeffrey really is jealous, because things just seemed a bit too convenient. Like this guy that Justin was touching on just so happened to be put in the same cell as Jeffrey. And I'm wondering, what did Justin tell Leslie to talk to this guy about exactly what happened in the cop car? I'm not 100% sure if things went down the way they did, or if Justin set up the entire thing to, make Jeffrey jealous. Something just didn't sit right with me about that. It's just my opinion. But like I said before, just wait until I do a separate video on that. But we do know, thanks to that phone call that David received, that Jeffrey will be released tomorrow. And we do know that next episode will cover the next day, due to the fact that Wyatt wakes up and, Vinny's going to be mad about the money. Now, will we see Jeffrey be released next episode? Could be, or I'm thinking that it might be the next episode after that, which will be on the 22nd. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's see here. Yeah, I'll just talk about the ending, and then I'll talk about David and Erica. With Wyatt, hands down, that was a great scene between him and Vinny. What was his name? Let me see if I can look in the notes real quick. Derek, I believe, is the bartender that told Vinny to give Wyatt the drugs. He's good for the money because look at those car keys. But unbeknownst to them, remember, Oscar took the money from the account, and even Candace is like, I can't wait until 9 a.m. in the morning. And I believe that's around the same time that Oscar told Jim that you should expect the money in your account by then. But we do know that Candace is going to intercept. So I think it goes without saying that this was confirmation that Candace is going to take Jim's money as well as the money transferred from Wyatt's account. So Wyatt is going to be screwed. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see how things turn out. And that about does it. The last thing I want to talk about is David and Erica. Now, I'm not going to lie, the scene between David and Erica, I feel like is the most talked about scene from the episode, based off Twitter and Facebook. And, aside from Stephanie Mills and, Hannah's wig. But I feel like this scene actually birthed a lot of theories. And thankfully, I did a good amount of videos talking about, is Erica going to die this season? Will she betray David? Thankfully, I got those videos out before this episode aired, so hopefully more people will be drawn to them. That doesn't mean I won't do more this week, though. But about this scene, number one, great that Jeffrey's getting out of jail. And then Erica asking the question is like, how did you get with her? Like, you're a good man, but how did you end up with a crazy witch like her? And just like the Jim and Catherine scene, I loved how there was some backstory, just a little bit, between David and Veronica, how he now is self-aware that, the signs were most likely there, but I just ignored them or tried to explain them away. And I really did like that, the fact that we're getting a self-aware David Harrington. And the fact that he still loves her, but I'll never go back to her, never. I am not 100% sure about that. It goes back to what I said earlier about how I feel that Catherine still does. It's like David loves the controlling Veronica, just like Catherine loves the son of a bitch that Jim is. And as a man, I feel like it's been something I've been finding out about myself, that I love a strong-willed woman. Not exactly at the same level as, let's say, a Candace or Veronica, but there's just something about that I find attractive. So I do like how David and Erica did have this conversation. But here's the problem. Two things, Erica saying that I'm starting to fall for you. And, I think she said, I wouldn't lie. And I'm thinking to myself, and David said, like, I'm falling for you too. I want to believe that Erica's falling in love with David almost as much as I want to believe that Derek isn't the guy that raped Hannah. And like I said before, Erica really doesn't have any other choice, to be honest, because you got Veronica on the front lines trying to get rid of her if the opportunity presents itself. And then you have Candace having Erica under her thumb. But when are these characters going to stand up to Candace? Like, she's, do you want to get slapped? I'm like, that. girl, please, bye. I'm just done with this whole pimp thing. But I will definitely be diving in more into the Erica and David, I don't even want to say relationship, this thing they got going on, because I did like that scene, but I just know that Erica, the fact that David for once isn't like all these other guys that she's used to dealing with, whether conning them or, Warlock when those two were together, he is a legitimately nice guy. So I feel like in her best interest, she ought to just stay with him. But if the truth comes out, because when she was like, there's something I need to tell you, I'm thinking to myself, oh, is she going to tell the truth? No. Well, I mean, she didn't tell the truth about how she was set up to extort his money, but she possibly told the truth about falling for him. I don't know. But I do think that Candace did say, lay on the charm. So this could be part of her act. I hope it isn't, but we'll just have to wait and see. So like I said before, I'll definitely dive more into that topic when I have the chance to record a video. But overall, this was a long review. I hope that if you stuck through it this far that you enjoyed it, and I hope you go into the comment sections below and tell me what you thought about the episode. Now, when it comes to the rating, scale of 1 to 10, I feel like this is probably one of the highest, if not the highest score that I've ever given an episode. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. This was a fantastic episode. My few nitpicks were I'm just tired of the pimp Candace thing. Benny being, like his annoyingly overprotective son, and then Jeffrey being the victim and everything. So those were the only 3 nitpicks that I had. Other than that, a very solid episode. I'm probably going to go back and rewatch it again before next week, but I thoroughly enjoyed In His Eyes. If Tyler Perry just continues to deliver quality episodes like this, then it really will be a can't miss a single episode season. So as I said at the beginning of the episode, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I did check the own YouTube page. The preview for next week isn't up yet. I'll do what I did last week for In His Eyes, where I will show the clip of the preview, break down the scenes, but I really do hope that they continue with the quality episodes, because this one was definitely a treat. So let me know your thoughts about the episode as a whole. What theories do you want me to break down over the next week? And I will talk to you all later.